Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Babe, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome, a warm welcome. I got two guests tonight. I am so fortunate and so blessed. I want to welcome everybody, including my guest tonight, to How to Fight CPS and Stop Taking Your Children with your host, Bob Pace. You found me on Facebook, Fight CPS, and I'm here to try to help you. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a loving father, a husband. I have 6 children, and I too was in CPS. I have 41 years of marriage experience, so hopefully my life skills can help out with your particular cases. Now, we have our guest tonight, and we have, whoops, that suddenly got appeared there as soon as I lean on my computer. We have Courtney and Shannon. Now, where are you guys from, Courtney and Shannon?
I'm originally from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, in Canada, but I moved from Glace Bay to Truro, and I had my son up in Halifax, and then we moved back to Truro, Nova Scotia. I only had him for about 2 months, and CPS ended up taking him.
Ooh. Okay, what about you, Shannon? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and I moved to Truro, and now I live in Debert, Nova Scotia.
Okay, so we have 2 Canadians, and this is very interesting because we had 2 Canadians last night. I don't know if you watched my show last night.
Yes, I did.
But I had Susan and Philistine, an indigenous woman of the Canadians First Nation people. They call their Indians First Nation, and I know we're a little bit different here. So with that being said, I'm going to spend a couple minutes telling everybody about a couple peculiars, and then we'll have you two talk about your CPS case, okay?
Okay.
First of all, that all are listening, I want everybody to show respect and love for one another. This is all about CPS. We try to stick with CPS issues. Either you have a case or you have a question, and I welcome people from around the world because I have right now about 20 countries that have called in. I've had Bangladesh, India, 2 countries in the Middle East, 6 countries in Africa, 8 countries in Europe. And then in Canada, I've had several provinces. And then in the United States, I've had all 50 states call in, including Washington, D.C., which is not a state. And then I've had Mexico and the Grenada and South America. Then across Pacific, I've had New Zealand and 2 states in Australia, the Gold Coast, and then the Victoria, which is the Melbourne area there, the south part of Australia. So I'm well happy with people from around the world. And it seems to me that all of you, including myself, have something in common. CPS want to immediately take our children because they think they're in imminent danger. And when someone calls in, a layperson or professional, and says, so something is happening, right away you're considered guilty and you have to prove you're innocent. It's the only legal thing where you are guilty until you're proven innocent. Every other court of law, you're innocent till you're proven guilty. But this is a strange animal as CPS is. In fact, they have where it's held is usually called dependency court, and they do not have a jury trial with your case. It's all decided by a judge. Now, I think in your case, do they call their judges magistrates, or what do they call judges in Canada?
The minister of Nova
Minister
Scotia.
first.
Okay, yeah. I want to make sure I use the proper terms. I'm trying to learn about Canadian law and Canadian Parliament and how they function there. And I've heard nothing but negative stories, and I don't blame because most of it's true. There's over 900 people that have texted me or talked to me. I mean, I've even had South Africa, that's country code 27, call me. And then also England, I have several people from England, that country code 44. I think in Canada, you don't use a country code, you use an area code. Is that what you do?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's a little bit different. The United States and Mexico uses area codes. So we have Canada, Mexico, and US that can call each other pretty easily. But when you're in another country, like our country code's 01, when people want to call us, but in other countries there. But that being said, I want everybody to know that there are 4 ways you can participate in this podcast. One way is to just be in this room taking notes. And we just lost somebody here. I thought we had. My computer is really badly.
I'm still here.
I'm sorry, Courtney.
It's okay.
My
I know the way electronics work, and they can be
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to tell you what you can do in this room. One, you should be in this room taking notes. You can use emojis, and you can send stars, smiley faces. You can also do thumbs up or hearts. And then also, if you want to check to follow me, check the button. And then also, if you want to be notified, you can check the button. Now, if you want to text a message, the format that I use, and I'll put on the screen for a second. Basically, you're just going to show them your first name only, and then either the city, the state, and if you don't know the city or don't want the city, the country, the county is okay. City or county, and then your state. Now, if you're from another country or a province, you would say your province and your country there, and then try to be complete with your case. Now, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, like these 2 ladies tonight, I can take up to 9 people, including myself, be 10 people as guests. And then we can all talk about the case and help each other and so forth. All you have to do is email my producer, who's Grace, and she disappeared. She was here, but she's busy. Anyway, she helps produce my podcast. You just pick one of my 14 shows. I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on the morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's California time. And in the evening, I'm at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time. And I do on Saturday and Sunday come on at 8 o'clock. And sometimes in the week, I have different times. I'll let you know. But you just pick one of those days like you ladies did, and you pick the dates and either a Sunday or Monday or Wednesday in the morning or afternoon, and send it to Grace. She can reach at grace@vincentwdavis.com, and she can help you get on, and she'll tell you the ins and outs and give you a link. I use StreamYard as the application on broadcast and YouTube. I have 9 or 8 rooms, and all the rooms are connected with this room. So no matter what question you say, I will see it. And then the 4th way to interact with this podcast is you can call me at 626-698-0990. So those are the 4 ways that you can interact with this podcast. Now, since I have guests, I want to make sure you 2 have a lot of time to talk about your case. And also, if you call in by phone or you're a guest and talk about my show, you will get a chance for a 15-minute private consultation with Mr. Davis, if you want it. And that is a real attorney. He was a gentleman you saw that talked a little bit before my show. We'll talk again at the end of my show. And lastly, I got a number there, which is 888-888-6582. That's That's the law office of Vincent W. Davis. There you can get all kinds of things. For instance, there's a new guide out for all your grandparents and also your regular people, a step by step of how to get guardianship of your grandchild. It can work for other things too. But it's $9.99, but I offer it now for $4.99 if you use the discount code of PACE, PACE, all capital 50. You'll get 50% off the $9.99 before $9.99, and it's important, yes, to get there. Also, that number is good if you want to retain Mr. Davis or you want to get another attorney for another legal matter, like maybe you will want something with immigration, or you want something with the divorce or criminal or real estate or the workplace or injuries. There's all kinds of areas that he has. So that number 888 is that number. So I want everybody to understand that CPS, from what I have observed myself and the people on my show, have a problem. They become rogue. They're not transparent. They lie. They cheat. They steal money. They want money, and they want to take your children. And they don't like reunification. And so it's sad. And it's even in other countries. I've seen the similarities. I saw a lot of similarities in South Africa. And so everything like that. Now, I also want to welcome one of her regulars, Crystal Sandoval. Now, Crystal has been in this room many times before, and she comes tonight and see what she has to say. It's all about contract law. Don't sign a contract. Once you sign that contract, it's over. They have full control unless you rebuke it. Well, that's a good thing to know, Crystal. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So I don't know which one of you would like to start, but I'd like you to start from the beginning, how you first got involved with CPS and what children are affected, the ages, and if you have a relationship, if you have a husband or a boyfriend or a lover, or it's just a partnership. And just tell me how all the relationship works and bring you up to date where you're at on your case. And maybe there's some questions you wanted to ask me. So who wants to go first?
It doesn't really matter. I'm the grandmother. I'm Courtney's mom.
Oh, okay, there. That makes it simple now. I don't have to worry about unless you had a case yourself.
No.
So that's great, Mom. So you're a grandmother, so you'd be interested in that manual.
I'm the grandmother. And how CPS got involved is that public health nurse end up calling on my daughter. And they showed up at my door. They end up taking my grandson from my home. They did not say why they were taking him. They just showed up at my door, 2 workers with 2 officers.
Now, were these the Royal Canadian Mounted Police?
Yes, it was.
I've always heard about these guys. Of course, the only time I ever saw the Royal Canadian Mounted Police is in the movies with that Siberian Husky wolf or whatever it was. And they had their red jackets and their white horses. And
I know which one you're talking about. I used to watch
that. So I don't know if they dress like normal every day to day, or do they still dress in the old tradition British way?
Only once in a blue moon, I think. I'm not really sure. But
and
they showed.
You know why they show up, don't you?
Yeah. Well, right now, because where I live in Debert, Nova Scotia, they have jurisdiction in my area. So they showed up with them. They came into my home. Courtney was here with my grandson. He was only 2 months old, give or take, because he was born August the 23rd, 23, and they took him on October the 12th of 23.
Why did you allow him in your home?
At that time, I wasn't aware that I didn't have to leave them in my home. They came in.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. So. I kept asking them, what grounds do you have to take him? They would not answer me. My grandson was not in danger. He was not abused. He was not neglected. When he was born, he was 6 pounds, 8 ounces. He actually doubled in his weight. He was over 10 pounds by when they took him.
Isn't that normal to gain weight when you
Yeah,
grow? I
yeah,
mean, in a woman, it's really hard to have a very big baby, and so
yeah, yeah.
that's normal. But
But
did they try to call or talk to you ahead of time?
no,
They just suddenly knocked on the door, and you
they
see them.
showed up at my door.
Yep.
Yeah, they just showed up at my door. I kept asking them why. The poor officers actually felt so sorry because they didn't know what to do. The CPS
Most of the
workers,
police don't know what to do because the CPS uses them for protection. They don't tell the officer what they're there for, and they
no,
go along with whatever the CPS wants to say. And
yeah,
so, unless you know the law or your
yeah,
constitution or civil rights, you can't rebuke them because, you know. Anyway, I'll let you continue on. So they're in your home and they're
um,
asking without no rhyme or rhyme or reason, we want to take your child.
yeah. They just come in and said we're here to take the baby. We kept
Wow.
asking why. They wouldn't. They wouldn't say. The next day, I went to CPS's office. I actually talked to the CPS worker that was involved. And she stated that the reason why they took him, they used me as an escape route, stating that Courtney and the baby were supposed to be in my care, that there was a safety plan put in place, and I breached it by allowing my daughter and grandson go to the father's home.
Well,
Um,
wait a second. Um, did there was a previous case? Or you had previous things with them?
no,
What
well,
safety
see,
plan are they talking about?
well, my daughter, she has health issues. She was a very high risk pregnancy when she was carrying my grandson. We almost lost her and the baby a couple of times. My
Wow.
daughter takes seizures, plus she has AFib tachycardia. Um, I was aware when the baby was born, the hospital said that they were going to contact CPS because they were kind of nervous of Courtney being by herself with the baby at night
Okay.
due to her seizures and whatnot. So CPS worker did show up at my house one day. They went through. I told them that, she has her own apartment, that me and my husband will help her as much as we can. I work. I
What
work
about the
at
husband? What about the husband? What's
my
he doing?
husband.
No, the husband of Courtney.
I'm not
She doesn't
married.
have one.
Oh, you didn't. Was he a boyfriend or just a
Yes.
lover?
He's my ex-boyfriend now. I had nothing but issues with him, so I
Okay,
don't really
understand.
talk to him anymore.
So, but does he want to help out or is he out of the picture?
He is very stressed out with this case. He told me like we do talk a little bit. I'll let him know what's going on with our son. Like I keep him in the loops as being a good mother because I find the father still deserves to know what's going on with his child. And he told me that CPS nothing but to harass him, stresses him out. He ended up taking a bad heart attack. He almost died because of the stress that they were causing.
Wow.
Including my husband. My
Oh,
husband, because of all the stress and the lies that they're doing, he ended up having to go for a double bypass. And now it's this point, now they're going to use that against us.
oh, we shouldn't have. That
They're
sounds
doing
terrible.
everything in their power to put my grandson up for adoption.
Now, did you ever think about an attorney?
I actually went and hired a lawyer. Right now, I finally just got one
Okay.
because where I work, I don't make enough money to qualify for a regular lawyer. So I had to go through legal aid, but
Yeah,
I
that's
make
yeah.
just a nil over the cutoff. I think I make $30 over. So when I went to court, the judge that we had, he was really nice. He actually caught CPS and their lawyer in multiple lies
Well,
in open court.
that was good. Question for you now. Did they have what's called a settlement conference before you have
Yes,
to go to
we
court?
went to the settlement conference.
Okay, now how was that? How was that?
It wasn't good.
Oh boy.
It was not good at all. I don't know how I sat there without wanting to tear CPS workers
Well,
out.
the problem is that the settlement conference is a good thing. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get people to do it as one of the first steps. I mean,
Mhm.
the first step I tell people, get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I don't, how are you going to do it? And a lot of it's with income. I didn't have income either. And I tried the court appointed attorneys or the public defender. And it was a disaster using the
Yeah.
court appointed attorney because they know nothing about dependency law, juvenile law, or family law. And those three areas, which you have to know, it's like, can you imagine doing open heart surgery with a plumber?
Yeah.
Cutting open the chest and taking that pumping heart in your hand and try to fix a valve or something. Well,
Yeah.
fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. You can't do it with a court appointed attorney. You can try to. I have several people in my room that come here all the time. Betty Joe's one of them. Tessa, who is also has seizures, is another. And my attorneys talked to both of them and told them what they're supposed to do with a court appointed attorney is basically either you get kicked in the seat of the pants or we'll fire you and I'll sue you for negligence and report you to the bar association. See,
Yeah.
that's how you make these attorneys that are appointed to you, because CPS wants you to take these attorneys because they can manipulate them. They can manipulate. If your child will have one, you will have one, the father will have one, and all that. And I'm glad that they're allowing you to work with your daughter, because a lot of times they don't allow grandparents, and grandparents have every right to be involved in their child and so forth. Like when you were raising up, um, I want to say, Shannon, when you were raising up, did you have any trouble with foster care yourself?
No.
Okay, so you had no history of foster care with Courtney until Courtney's son was born, your grandson. So
Yeah.
once you had a grandson, and what were the allegations that they came up with?
Well, at first, they were trying to say they actually put in an affidavit, which I read, because at first, me and my husband weren't a part of the court proceedings. It was just Courtney and the father. I was just recently actually added to the CPS file,
Oh, good.
um, because the judge got kind of peed off at CPS and their attorney. Because the last time we went to court, he asked me if I got any of the affidavits or any court papers. And I'm like, no, they don't give it to me. But I said, I do know for a fact that there's been a lot of stuff that's been mentioned regarding me and my spouse in the affidavits because my daughter had told me. And the judge actually looked at the CPS worker and their lawyer that represents them and says, okay, how come Ms. Metcalf and Mr. Strong have not been getting any documents? And their lawyer got really rude and says to the judge, well, Your Honor, they have no say in this matter. And the judge said,
Ah,
actually,
she
they
does.
do.
Yeah. I want everybody
Because,
to listen to this. This is real important here. I'm glad you brought up that point. I want
yeah.
everybody in my room to listen, and when this replayed again, that grandparents do have a right. All family members have a right. Because if there is, heaven forbid, something that is wrong, like say the mother or the father is strung out on drugs and they need to go through a drug rehab program, well, that's fine. The children can then be placed with a family member, and that's why you need to be a part of the picture. They all the time, they do that in California, where they say, oh, the grandparents have nothing to do with it. It's not with the grandparents. Well, it's part of family. And this guide that you can get for $9.99 and get a discount of $4.99 will tell you all that. It's a great guide, and it'll tell you the steps are. So I'm so glad that the judge, pointed that out to the social
Yeah.
workers. And if that attorney is stupid enough for social workers, which sometimes they are, that is wrong. You do have a right.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is your daughter right now?
My daughter just turned 30 in September.
30. Okay, she's very young still. Okay,
Yeah.
and you must be very young too. You must be in your 40s, right?
Yeah. A little older.
Well, okay. Yeah, that would be
Thank you.
case. Yeah, you would. Yeah. I mean, you would have been having her when you're 10. Okay, you're right. You're a little bit older, maybe
Yeah.
in your 50s, but you look
Yeah.
young. So
Thank you.
that's good. So you're there protecting your daughter, which is a good mother does. You don't stop being a mother when she turns 18. You don't stop loving your children when they turn 18. Yes, at 18, there's a transition. They become a young adult at 18, and they start to go on their own. It's like a
Yes.
bird in a nest. You try to push them out of the nest, but you don't need to, but you don't do. When I was 18, I said, goodbye, mom and dad. I remember that summer, I was 18 and a half, and I just graduated from high school. And I said, mom and dad, I got an apartment. It's really cool. It's in the basement, and a lady from India is renting it to me for $100 or something, or $75. And I'm going to move in there, and I have a job that summer. I was working as a lifeguard, and so I was all set. And so and it has proved the point. I'm lucky that two of my children still live with me. Of my six, one's 25 and one just turned 19. So my 25-year-old, 19-year-old are trying their best to get good jobs, trying to finish college and so forth. So you had the settlement conference. When they showed up in your home, did they search your home?
No, they just showed up
And they
to.
did not say anything. They didn't say
They
you're
just came
abusing a
in and
child.
said they were taking the baby. Courtney took the baby upstairs to my room, and that was it. And I
Well,
kept
did you
saying,
try to say what grounds?
I asked him, and even the cop, I kept asking the RCMP officers, like, why are you taking him? He's safe here. And the cop said, I have no idea. They
Wow.
wouldn't answer me. And when I finally did, and finally in the first affidavit, when I went to court to actually put him into care and asked the minister of DCS, they said the reason why is because of Courtney's health conditions, because my daughter has a disability. She's classified as having a learning disability.
Well, she's a special needs. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with special
no,
needs.
and
They need
she
some
has
assistance.
mild, and she's classified as mild, having mild
Yeah. But couldn't they
challenges,
say
whatever.
that you, as a grandmother, her mother, you
Mhm.
could help her and help protect the child? You raised up Courtney, and she
Yeah.
looks fine. She doesn't look evil over there,
Yeah,
and
well,
she was
apparently,
precious.
as I'm being told, that when the original CPS worker that came into my home, she came into my home because Courtney was under an agency for supports, through an agency in Truro, Nova Scotia, where we live.
Mhm.
Her support worker was at my home when the original CPS worker came in.
So is
And
she now, can I ask you a question?
yep.
She's over the age of 18. Have you ever thought about getting guardianship of your daughter, so it's a special need, you can help her?
Well, I was appointed at one time as her substitute decision maker, but
Okay.
she's under the care of persons with disability through Department of Community Services. And
Is
I
that a
was
good
told,
thing?
yeah, it is a good thing.
Okay.
They support her financially. So in this program, they pay for her home.
Oh, wow,
Because
they give her a home? Wow.
Yeah, she's in her own apartment. She's under a program which is called independent living.
Okay.
So what they do is Department of Community Services will pay for her apartment. They pay for her cell phone. They pay for her medications, her transportation. She's in another agency that a support worker comes in, I think maybe 3 times, 4 times a week for a couple of hours. They'll take her to her appointments and whatnot for her. They give her extra support. Um, so when she was actually at the time when she was pregnant, she was living in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in her own apartment. Because of her pregnancy was so high risk, and at that time they had to take her off of all of her medications, including her seizure medication and her heart medications
Ooh, that's kind of
and her blood
dangerous.
pressure.
How far away were
So
you from her when she was living? That was you far away?
I was about an hour and 15-minute drive from her.
Okay, not too
That's where,
far, but okay.
yeah. So her doctor at the time, her OB/GYN, went and called me because Courtney was constantly in and out of the hospital due to having seizures. Her blood pressure was so high, her heart rate, they couldn't get it under control. There's a couple of times where actually Courtney coded because of it. So her
Wow.
doctor called me and asked me if there's a way if I can take Courtney back home. So we did. I took Courtney back home for the last, I think it was like 2 months of her pregnancy because
Okay.
Courtney had to be on complete bed rest.
Now, do you have
So,
documentation of all this with your doctor and all this? Do you have it all documented?
yeah, yeah.
Good, good.
So, we took her home. She stayed with me. She went into premature labor. I had to take her to our hospital in Truro, which they couldn't deliver her because she was so high risk. When we brought her to the hospital, Courtney's blood pressure went sky high. That
Wow.
the baby's vitals dropped.
Now,
Courtney went in.
how is your public health handled in Canada?
Public health is the one who caused all this shit.
Really?
They're
Really?
the ones who actually called CPS on my daughter.
So do you have to go to, I mean, I guess the only way you go to, I mean, I don't know. In the United States, all our health, we don't have what you guys have. I think we have to pay a premium, and it depends on, you pay a lower premium, but you get higher deductibles.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay a high premium, you get low deductibles. Well,
Yeah.
you want to pay $1,000 a month or $10 a month? Do you want a deductible of maybe $50 a visit, or do you want a deductible of $500? So is that how it's set up in Canada?
No, we actually, our government pays for our health care here
That's what
through
I heard. Now, is that based
MSI.
on income, or anybody can get that?
I think
Anybody
anybody who lives in Canada gets it.
and has an
Wow.
MSI card.
You have to get an MSI card,
What
and
is
our
that card?
government pays it.
Okay,
Yeah,
what is that card?
Or health card.
Okay, health
it's our
card.
health card.
Okay, so that's, a lot of people wonder about the two systems, whether in the United States you can either, um, you know, work and get a medical plan through your work, or you can get a medical plan independently,
Yeah,
but then you have to, you have to pay for it.
yeah,
Where in other places they don't charge you premium, right?
yeah.
And do they charge you a deductible, or is it just all? So
No,
what they do, which I wish we did, is that the medical is free, and I think that's really important.
yeah.
Do you have to pay more in taxes for it, or?
Oh, we pay quite a lot of taxes.
Okay, yeah,
um, in
just say
where
that's probably how they
actually in
offset it.
my province where I live, we are actually the highest tax people is
Ooh,
Nova Scotia. If
so
all the
more than ten
provinces in
percent. Is it
Canada,
more than 10%?
oh yeah, we pay quite a lot of taxes.
Wow. Now, what is your province called? Because there's a New Brunswick province in Nova Scotia, right?
No, New Brunswick is a totally different province. We are Nova Scotia. Our capital
Well,
is
it's Nova
Halifax.
Scotia is a province. New Brunswick is a province.
Yeah.
Is Quebec a province or is that a
Mhm.
city?
No, it's a province.
Okay, so there's Quebec, and now Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Quebec are kind of close to each other, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm starting to get to know. I know over on the West Coast, there's the where Alberta is. There's a province called Alberta, right?
There's Alberta, Saskatchewan,
Right.
Manitoba.
Manitoba. Yeah, now we're trying to get there. All right, I'm trying to get
Ontario.
to learn Canada. I mean, I've been to Canada, but I've only been to Canada on the West Coast. I've been to Vancouver, Vancouver Island, and a couple of the breaks there in Vancouver Island. One called Long Beach, and I've been to Louise, Lake Louise. I've been to Banff because I've backpacked and camped in the Canadian Rockies and fished.
Okay.
So that's a real part of the place for me.
Yeah.
So,
We're on the opposite side.
yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good. So this hospital you're going to turned over to why if they are the same? Why would they turn
Well,
you
see,
into
what
CPS?
happened is that once Courtney had the baby, I took Courtney to my home. She had the baby at the IWK Grace Maternity, which is in Halifax. That's where they delivered her.
Did delivery go okay, or did they have a
No,
certain delivery?
she had complications when she had the baby.
Okay.
Courtney took a couple of seizures when she was pushing him out.
Ooh.
Um,
Did she have a C-section or
no, they actually should have did a C-section, but the doctor that delivered my grandson didn't do that.
well, it
And
costs more money. You know why they don't want
yeah,
to do C-section?
yeah,
It costs a lot more money, and so they're giving you free health care, but sometimes they're sacrificing the quality of health care.
yeah, yeah. But I guess once she had the baby, my grandson was born with severe bilateral club feet. So his 2 feet were clubbed when he was born. So
What
he
causes
had
that? What causes?
with his situation, it's where the way she was carrying him, I guess his feet were stuck up in his rib cage all the
Ooh,
time. So they think that's actually what caused my grandson to have the club feet. But they say right now it's really common now. There's a lot of babies for some reason been actually being born with club feet.
now can that posture be fixed, or does it develop?
Yes, and this is
Okay.
another issue. This is another thing that they're kind of using as well, why they don't want to give the baby to us. They're using this as an escape route as well. So,
No, they want money. You see, this is the thing that people don't seem to understand. In the United States, it's $1 trillion business because they
Mhm.
get an average, like, see, where I was having my children, they were getting from the county, which the money comes from the federal government to the state and then it goes to the county. They were getting $20,000 per child. I had 3 children, so that was $60,000. And
Wow.
believe me, it doesn't cost $60,000 to feed a child in 1 month. That's a monthly charge. So if you imagine if you have 100 families with each having 3 children, and if 300 children are in CPS's custody care and foster care and stuff, they're getting close to $6 million a month.
That's a
So
lot.
it's all about bonuses, incentives, so the workers can buy. I mean, my social worker was bragging about her Gucci purse, her BMW car, her clothing, her accessories, her eyelashes, her makeup. That's all she was talking about. Look what I got this week. They didn't care about your family.
No. And which really makes me mad with CPS, like I dealt with CPS before. Like I know how CPS works because I have friends that are CPS workers. I also had a family member that was a CPS worker.
Okay,
So
so
I know how CPS works.
you knew something there.
Yeah. And it really makes me mad. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay,
I was I was looking at a comment. You have to understand this room is open, so I have people coming in, and I
okay.
put their little messages on the screen. I've
Yeah.
had Crystal Sandoval give a lot of messages, and then I've had the NYP who's from California City, come in
Okay.
and say hi. And now I've had a new person here called Kathleen Ripley, who I don't know, and she says CPS does in Canada to the more files are open, the more money they get. Okay,
Yeah.
she's explaining how CPS in Canada is making money, and I guess the more
Oh, they do make money. I guarantee it. Like what really makes me mad with CPS and what is how they are lying. They're constantly lying.
Mhm.
I caught them in many lies.
Mhm.
Um, they say one thing and then they go back and they're saying another thing. They had absolutely no grounds whatsoever to come into my home and remove my grandson out of my home and taking him from my daughter. Okay, yes, I understand. There are concerns, and I did have concerns as well with Courtney with their seizures. So did Courtney. But we had a plan up in place, and like Courtney knew, because she does get warnings if she's taking a seizure, and like Courtney says, I know what to do if I feel off. I put the baby in the crib. Um, after my work, because I work 3 to 11, I told Courtney after work I will go over your house. I'll stay for a while if you want to get a shower or whatever. I can sit with the baby until you need to do whatever you want. On the weekends, I will take my grandson and we'll take him home. Because I went and bought two of everything for my home and Courtney's home. That baby didn't want nothing. He had everything. Um, like I can see if the baby was being neglected. The baby was never ever being neglected. He was not abused. He was well loved, well fed, well taken care of. Um, and what really makes me mad is that the reason why they're using it at first, they're saying, well, because of Courtney's health issues. Then they switched it and say, well, now they're using it is because Courtney's health plus her mental capacity that she's not mature enough to take care of her child.
But aren't you there, the sister?
What?
Aren't you there to assist her take care of
Yes,
her
I
child?
am. And
So
then
what is their
and
problem?
then they're
So
saying,
it was
okay. And then they try to say, well, the reason why they came into my home and took him out of my home is because I allowed her to leave my home with her son and take him for weeks to the father's house. Well, the CPS worker that first came to my home for a visit, she was aware that Courtney was underneath an agency for supports. That Courtney had her own apartment. Courtney was only staying with me temporarily. When she got out of the hospital, I took my daughter back home to get on her feet because after Courtney had the baby, she wasn't feeling good, and she ended up with a severe infection of the inner uterus. So
okay.
I took her home until she gets on her feet. She was at my house probably for about maybe 2, 3 weeks, and then she went to her own apartment. I was going back and forth to her apartment. I even took the baby at my house on the weekends. But apparently, at that time, it's usually standard. I don't know how the states do it, but after you have a baby in Canada, the hospital contacts public health, a public health nurse to come in. The public health nurse usually comes in and they work with you for, I think, the first couple of months.
Is
So
that like a pediatrician? Is that like a pediatrician?
no, it's just a nurse.
It's just a
So
nurse.
what their job is, they come in, they'll do home support. So what they'll do, they come in, they'll measure
Making
the
sure she can change
baby.
her diapers, bathe
Yeah.
her, and that she's getting properly fed. The child is getting
Yeah.
properly fed.
They'll
Okay.
they'll check his weight and stuff like that there, right?
That's
So
great. That's great. So what's wrong with that?
well, apparently, I guess Courtney missed, I think, two because she was at the baby's father's house. She missed 2 appointments with public health, so public health went and called and reported it. And then all of a sudden, CPS got kind of in a pissy, and this is what they did. And now
Okay.
that backfires because when we went to court for the settlement hearing, I brought that up, and I went after. I went after CPS, and I told them once this court case is coming, I am taking legal action against CPS for everything that they have been saying regarding me. I am going after CPS, and they have to prove everything that they said. When I brought it up in court, the judge even said to CPS worker and their lawyer, she said, well, Miss Metcalf is right. Do you have legal documentation stating that Miss Metcalf and Mr. Strong are supposed to be having Courtney and their grandson living at their house and they are financially responsible for them? Well, no. She says, well, because I said to the honor, I said, I want to see documentation stating that I signed because they're trying to tell me that Courtney and the baby are supposed to be living in my home, that I took that I'm financially responsible for them, which I'm not, and that I am their support plan, that there's a support plan. If there's a support plan and Courtney and the baby are supposed to be living with me, there should have been a contract that I signed stating that I'm taking responsibility for my daughter and my grandson. I never signed any legal document stating that I'm taking responsibility at all. There was not any mentioning of any support plan in place. The original CPS worker that was involved that came to my home for the first visit, she was aware, straight out, she was aware that Courtney was staying in my home temporarily and that she was underneath an agency that supplies in-home support services for Courtney. She was talking to the worker. She asked the worker who her name was, what agency she works for, who her boss was, and what the number was. She said that I will be contacting the agency. I will be speaking, which CPS worker never, ever, ever did contact the agency, even though they said in a document that they were in touch with the agency, which they weren't. That was a lie. All I know is that the CPS worker came in. She introduced herself. She asked me who I was. She talked to my daughter Courtney. She asked who the worker was. We told her different things like Courtney's temporary staying here. She has her own apartment on Lower Truro Road in Truro. She will be moving into her apartment. We're just waiting to get it finished because the landlord was painting it or doing something and whatnot. And she says, okay. And I told the children's aid worker, I am going to support my daughter as much as I can. I work 3 to 11 at a Colchester hospital in Truro. And then after work, I'll be going back and forth to make sure things are fine. Courtney knows that I'm only a phone call away. If she needs me on my days off, I will go. I will take my grandson to give my daughter a break. And I showed, like, Courtney brought her upstairs because we told her, so, like, I have a bedroom
Why couldn't
upstairs.
that be written down in a plan and present that to the judge?
That's what I said. And even the judge said that. She said, well, Miss Metcalf is right. If there was supposed to be a safety plan put in place, like you're saying, it should have been in a legal document stating that, okay.
Correctly. And then the judge can sign
And
it. The judge
why
makes the
wasn't
final decision in court. The
Yeah,
magistrate. The magistrate makes the decision,
yeah.
not CPS.
So now, because the judge caught them in this one and he questioned it, now what they're using now, why I'm not getting the baby, is because my grandson has the club feet and he has to wear special boots and bars.
Well, you got to get the pediatrician to be subpoenaed to come to court and testify.
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay, I'm just trying to help. I'm not trying to.
So now what they're doing is that they're trying to say in affidavits, the reason why they don't want me and my husband to get him now is because we do not know how to put the boots and bars on property, and that we're causing my grandson to have how did they word it, Courtney? Damage to his feet.
And soft tissue damage.
Soft tissue damage, which me and Courtney were already talking to his doctor, his surgeon, Dr. Orlick, out of the IWK hospital, and he made it quite clear to us twice that the foster parent who's actually looking after my grandson, they were having a lot of issues with them. At first, before they put the boots and bars, he had to go for surgery on the back of his tendons, and they had to cut them and stretch them, and they had to put cast on them for a while.
Okay.
The doctor said that they were having issues with the foster parents, constantly had to constantly take him back and forth because his casts were falling off because they weren't holding him properly. And then when they started putting the boots and bars on, they weren't putting them on properly, and they caused him to get severe blisters. There were months, like probably about a month or so, that they couldn't even put his boots and bars on because his feet were that bad. The plan was at first, CPS told us to put a plan in to go for legal custody because they want us to take custody of the baby. So I said, okay. So,
well, you could do this. You could do what's called temporary guardianship.
Okay.
When you do temporary guardianship, you're not removing your daughter's rights, her educational rights, or medical rights for the child. She'll still have her medical rights. She'll still have something to say about her medical and where the child goes to school. But being a guardianship, you can go ahead and do that. So I think it's real important to think about a guardianship.
Yeah. Well, I know right now they're pushing it for custody, but the way we're doing it is that if we go for custody, Courtney's still going to be involved with Carson. No matter which way. She will be involved as well with his medical. So if we need to take him to the IWK, Courtney will come with me. The same with parent
1 second.
teaching.
Time out for 1 second. I need to speak to my. Okay, I'm back. It's hard when you have a family and you still try and take care of them. And of course, I'm a little bit older than most dads. I'm a dinosaur now. I'm 75 years old, so I still have young children.
Age
Just
is only a number.
yeah, I know. Age is only a number. It's not how you feel or how you look. And
Yeah.
so I was still having children well into my 60s. So that's why I have 6 children. I have a lot of children. So I'm very blessed to have a young wife. So that has a so. But anyway, it sounds like you're moving around your place a little bit there.
I'm trying to. I have to plug in my computer because I didn't notice my battery was going low, so I just plugged it
Oh,
in.
good. You're good thinking. I'm putting up more messages on the screen. We have a lady named Delroy Payne. So they took the baby from Courtney simply because she missed those 2 appointments with the nurse. That comes to check the baby's weight. Yes, that's what they're saying. And where are you from, Delroy? I don't know. You're new to me, so I don't recognize where you're from. Did they have a warrant to remove the baby from
No, they
court?
did not.
Nope.
So how did they remove the baby?
They just came in and took them.
Well, okay. From here on out, starting tonight, you go through an attorney. You do not talk to social workers, and
I
you do not.
got one right away.
Right, understood.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake that most people made, including myself. I'm just as guilty because I would never have lost my children if I got an attorney right away.
Yeah.
Now we have Kathy from Canada, Kathy Ripley, kinship care, she calls it, kinship care. I don't know what that means, but
No.
oh,
May I
kinship
ask you
care.
for a
That's
minute? I had to go use the
mom
bathroom.
taking care of
Yep.
it. It's called kinship care. Yes, good point, Kathy. Now, Derek Payne, I don't know where you're from, but don't say the baby's name for your protection. You don't want to say the baby's name on the show. You don't want to say the social worker's name or the judge's name.
Nope.
I don't care if you talk about attorneys, but no social worker on this show because we don't want anybody listening that's going to do things weird.
Yeah.
Now, we have a smiley face from Delroy Payne, but I still don't know where she's from. Delroy Payne, if you could tell me where you're from, it'd be great. And NYP from California says, I can't believe it. She cannot believe this is happening up in Canada. It happens everywhere.
It's bad. It's bad here. Like, it is bad here. Like, I understand, like, I don't understand how they can actually do that and not tell us the reason why. Like, I can understand it, like, if the baby was abused or neglected. But now they're using my daughter's mental health capacity. They're saying that the reason why they don't want him in her care is because her disability and whatnot. So they're using that. And
We
now,
need to adjust our lighting. I don't mean to be rude, but when you position yourself with your computer, you have the light bulb behind your head. I don't see your face anymore.
can you see me now?
A little bit better
Sorry
here.
about that. Just had to run to the
Okay.
bathroom.
I know you were hiding because you're doing something, but your mother. When she
I had to run to the
computer
bathroom,
now,
drank too much water.
that's okay. And I do want to tell Deidre Payne, welcome to my podcast. I finally get to meet another podcaster. She hosts another show of Mr. Vincent Davis, and her name of her show is Are You a CPS Victim Like Me? And I'm glad to meet you, Deidre Payne. And I assume you're from California. So welcome to my podcast. I'm glad you're here to help out. Now we have another person here, NYP from California. They tried to take my babies from my mom for the same reason. Now here it is in California, and you're in Nova Scotia. California and Nova Scotia are not next door neighbors, and CPS is just as bad in both places.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that tells you something there.
Yes.
And that's the name of
And
Dietrich's
what
show.
gets me
Are you a
is
CPS
that
victim?
yeah, they lie so much. Like right now, it's like right now they're trying to force my husband now. One of the support workers that work for CPS. They want my husband now, they want him to get his medical records. They're trying to force him to apply for CPP disability and whatnot. In one of the court documents that we recently just got, the support workers stated that we refuse to cooperate by getting our medical records. They're using our health, well, apparently now they're saying that we have health issues, so they don't think that we are qualified to get Carson. They're using right now because of his feet. They're saying that they also don't want us to get him is because we do not know how to put his boots and bars on properly, and that we are causing him to have damage to his feet. And because of that, it will cause more harm for him to the point where he will not be able to walk and stuff, which he's walking fine. Like the baby walks, my grandson.
Yeah. Can you change to the side, Shauna, so that we can see your face again?
Right here?
Well, your light bulb's behind your head.
Okay.
need to
Let's
put the
see
light
if I
in.
can get this
There
way.
you go. That is better, but now you got to be standing. I didn't want to do that. I do want to point out that Deidre, my other host on the other show of hers, says, have you ever tried the CDA? Now, we have the ADA in the United States, American Disability Act. Does Canada have the Canadian Disability Act?
I think so. I'm not really sure.
You need to look into it, because if you're disabled, they will help protect you when people are taking advantage of you.
Okay.
They can actually fight CPS. And I'm pretty sure that if the American has the American Disability Act, I'm pretty sure Canada has one too called the Canadian Disability Act.
Okay.
The CDA. I would have to look it up.
Yeah.
To see if they do have it in there. I want to thank all my other people that are writing in messages. I've been putting them on the screen. I think everybody can see them. You've all been very helpful and very supportive to these fine neighbors of ours, these Canadians, trying to raise a child. I mean, these are wholesome people. Why does CPS, and the reason why I use the word CPS, I mean the Child Protection System. It may have a different name in wherever land you're in. Why they want to do this is because of money.
Yeah.
It's sickening that no matter if you're in South Africa, I mean, I had one horrible story. In South Africa, they live in the bush. And one of the mothers had their children taken captivity. They went to a lake, and suddenly her child disappeared because a crocodile got a hold of the child and dragged it in the water under CPS's supervision.
Wow.
And they lost the child.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I understand it. Like, there are children out there that, need protection. But at the same time, there's literally stealing innocent children from families that love them, that do everything in their power to support them, and they just come in, and what they did is they stole him and they kidnapped him. They had no grounds, no rights to come into my home and remove my grandson out of this home. He was not abused. He was not neglected. He was well taken care of. And just because, my daughter has a disability, and health issues, if that's the case, then nobody should be parents, because a lot of people in this world have health issues. A lot of people that, there are people that have a disability that raise their children, and they, what gives them the right to do what they did and then go to court and lie and make up stories and destroy people's homes? And right now, they are really pushing for an adoption. This is what they want. They want to adopt him because he is an infant.
That is wrong because they want it for the money purposes. I want to say hello to JD. She's a woman in Norwich, England. She's a mum from the UK who's been on my show a lot. She just came into the room and said hello to all of you. And I want to
Hi.
welcome her from Norwich, England. She has a horrific, terrible story she was telling on the show. You see, I've been very blessed to have good people from around the world as well as the United States. All of you have something in common. You have a very corrupt CPS system that just wants to take money. Just wants to take money. Now, Gender Payne says if you also want to talk on her show, you can let Grace know, and she'll arrange it, and you can talk on her show about your case.
Okay.
We're all here to help one another, so I'm glad to have this activity tonight. It really is nice to have it here. And Kathy Ripley says, discrimination against people with disability. Maybe that's what it's called for in Canada. It's
Okay.
called discrimination against people with disability. Anyway, if you have a disability, you should have the full rights of regular people. You just have to take longer to do, or you need more assistance. There's nothing wrong with being disabled in this world. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's why they have bigger toilet seats and wider toilet stalls and access to doors and restaurants for disability. It's not me because they're helping people because we want all people. The disability people are real human beings and they should not be taken advantage of. And CPS is taking advantage of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they get more money, but anyway.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They get more money. And right now, my grandson will be classified as disabled because of his feet. And now they're saying he has other medical issues as well.
Okay.
But they'll say one thing, and then they're saying another thing, and then they're saying another thing. And we don't know what's true anymore.
Well,
We truly
I
don't.
so enjoyed this podcast with you two people from Canada because both of you have been enlightening to me and to my people that come in here. But my time is over. It's after 8 o'clock my time, and I'm only supposed to be on the show 1 hour. So
Okay.
I'm going to have to wrap this up. But that doesn't mean you can't call me tomorrow or arrange to be on my show as a guest on another night, another morning or another night. You're perfectly well to be on my show. In fact, I have about 25 to 30 people that come on my show regularly, and one has been on my show, and it took her 15 months for finally to talk to me. Lori Hiller has been on my show since I first started. She only say her name. She never talked to me. Today she opened up and she talked about her case. And that was so remarkable. That's how bad she'd been treated by CPS. She was too choked up to talk about it. And so she's trying to get her children back. They've been in foster care for a long time. They're now turning 18. One has come home, but now they're trying to take his child. He has a child too. So they do this thing where they keep track of people. And it's really, really bad. And I did not know, Kathy, that's the last comment I'm going to take. Kathy from Canada, from Nova Scotia, says 1,000 children in Ontario, Canada, die in foster care system. Now, I don't know if that's per year or since it started or what, but that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that die. And I just want to tell you that foster care is also bad. But I want to thank both of you fine ladies.
Thank you.
For taking the time to open up. Boy, we have a lot of people come in here. And so I have like 9 comments came in right after I read Kathy's comment. And so, oh boy, I don't know if they slipped in. Boy, I lost a lot of comments here. It's federal money. You're right, Dietrich. It's federal money. I'm just reading the comments now. They do not care about the best interest of the child. You're right. JD from England says in the UK, a law even created that have parents, they're taking children away. This is shocking because this is a mafia in the UK. It's awful there. And Dietrich, one of the co-hosts, says from Orange County, California, says they want the adoption incentives. Yes, President Clinton signed into law in 97 that they get more money. I mean, $1 trillion is not enough money. They get more money.
Wow.
And so they get bonus for
That's why they're
adoption of
pushing
children.
for adoption of my
Right.
grandson.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Davis is going to be on Dietrich's show tomorrow night.
Okay.
I don't know what time his show is tomorrow night. Mine is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can ask your questions there. Good. JD from United Kingdom says they're creating laws comfortably only for government and not for parents. Nothing better for children. Only the parents, police is working together with children service because they get lots of money. Yes, they do. And Dietrich says they definitely get more money if the child is disabled. Yes, they get extra money. And JD from UK, the mother there, says others think children's services giving drugs and our children. I agree there. Kathy from Canada says the Crown Wardo are red flags at hospitals. And then Kathy also says in 1 year. And Deidre says, okay, her show's at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So It's fine. So go to her show at 5, come to my show at 7. Get double duty. But I do got to sign off. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Deidre that I just met. I want to thank Kathy. I want to thank the lady from the UK, Kathy, Jay Day. I want to thank both Shannon and Courtney, her daughter, for sharing their story. And then who else did I leave out? I always forget leaving some people out. There's a lot of people tonight. And I think it's great. We've had a lot of people. Crystal, I don't forget Crystal Sandoval. She's been with me a long time. And she had a horrific case and so forth. Some of these people I know have been on there. So with that being said, I got to end my podcast. And I want to thank you all for listening in. And God bless you all. And I want you to still keep fighting for your children. Remember, I'm on here twice a day, 7 days a week for 15 months. I'm even here on holidays, New Year's and Christmas. So if you need something, I'm only, as with my two shows, I think I'm only 12 hours apart. So hang in there, keep fighting for your children. And there'll be a brief message from Vincent Davis when I sign off. So this is Bob Pace signing off, and God bless you.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.